Because right here, I wrote it. Just okay? It's not. Especially when it comes to doing that. AT&T is America's best wireless network for America's business. Now, if I revolution, first step, more people. That's all.
She believes the end of the call to action.
the United States head coach, was asked if she had any memories of her first interim stint as the head coach of the United States women's national team. She asked about her time in Tampa. Is the pirate ship still there? It is. We welcome you to Raymond James Stadium for the second half between England and Japan in the SheBelieves Cup in 2019. Brazil and the United States and the aforementioned Jill Ellis will follow. But for now, it's England and Japan. And for the Japanese, after a distraught 3-0 fall to England, they make 3 changes to their lineup as Momiki, Yokoyama, Miura, and Kobayashi will come in, replacing Sakaguchi, Oga, Ikejiri, and Endo. And so in total, the right midfield will look different. Both forwards in a 4-4-2 are different. And Oga, the center back, will come out in favor of Miura, making just her 7th appearance for the Japanese. Very nice performance by Greenwood in the first half. Could say that for most anybody on the English roster. They have announced no changes at halftime. Izzy Christensen went down with injury, and Georgia Stanway came in her stead. So just 1 change for England since the start of the match. Underway in the second half. England keeps their lead of any margin. They are the SheBelieves Cup champions. If Japan were to find a way to level this, the United States would need a goal-scoring explosion in the second game against Brazil to win the trophy. One would imagine England may leave the stadium and return rather than wait 3 hours for their prize. They won't be handing them a trophy until after the final game of this round-robin tournament is complete. Not a lip reader, but imagine Carney wasn't ecstatic about that. She was one of 3 goal scorers in the first half. Beth Mead with a really sublime finish. Lucy Staniforth scoring as well. Stepping in Momiki. Samishima. And recovered by the English and Staniforth. Away from Taylor. Yamine. Kobayashi, about as far as Japan has gotten up the field in this game. Yet despite the overlap, choosing move in reverse. Sugita. Left off for Kobayashi. That's wide. Only the second shot by the Japanese. And Kobayashi coming right off the bench. Her first goal against Brazil was the game winner in the final 10 minutes. Coming in Nashville, a 3-1 win for Japan. They have a lot to hang their hat on in this tournament, no question. Even if they do walk away with a disappointing loss to England. Conversation for them is that they're looking forward to Tokyo in 2020. To some extent, you could say it's house money in France. And they have just announced that in 2023, they will bid to host the World Cup. They're really simply raising their hands, offering their services. See who else puts their hat in the ring. Holding up against that contact and back by Miura. By Hasegawa, turned away. Stanway. Knee. Yokoyama. Yora. Yora again. And Japan approaching the penalty area. There's the service across, and it's brought down by Walsh. Taylor throws her arm out. Kobayashi. And now Mead. Feet of Kobayashi. Hasegawa. Tapped across by Yokoyama. The run coming in behind by Kobayashi. Hasegawa. Much improved from Japan in the first 5 minutes against the last 45. Second substitution of the game for England. Team's not bound by the traditional 3 substitute rule that would come the World Cup. That's enough for Jody Taylor. This was a very nice game in her pursuit of a plane ticket to France, the former Oregon State charge, with 2 assists. And in comes Ellen White. And White pursuing this all the way back. White nearly got to that. Yamane. Side by Stanway. Spinning away was Carney. The bouncing service is nearing Mead. Lofted out by Hasegawa. To the English dugout. Bless our public address announcer, who's currently reading through the 4 changes made by Japan at halftime. Slid back to Houghton. England says that the door is not shut on anybody right now. This ball lofted out of play by Mead. He's making a pretty impassioned plea to be a part of things in France. Has scored a lot of goals in the English domestic league. And finally getting her chance and making the most of it on the international stage for England. She was scoring at a goal-a-game clip at Sunderland. That'll do. Hasegawa. The overlap comes from Samishima. Samishima's made the room. Puts it over the crossbar. That corner was open. Samishima, a veteran of over 100 caps, reached that milestone in the last 6 months, narrowly curling this up and over. Hasegawa for Japan. They finished 4th in the 2018 Tournament of Nations, hosted on American soil. Ball ahead, Yokoyama. Yokoyama cutting this back. Kobayashi was near. So was Momiki. White wins it back to Carney. Walsh. If the English are hoping to have the swagger of the United States. This is the kind of win that certainly allows you to saunter home. That was Phil Neville's words. Swagger he wanted. And, you know, Beth Mead looking for a spot on this team. There's a lot of players that have tried to catch Phil Neville's attention over the last year. Have done quite well doing it in tournaments just like this. Houghton sweeping it aside to Greenwood, who's lofting for Ellen White, and that has to be played with the feet by Yamane. The goal is open, and Yamane is backed in with her 6'2" frame. Far and away the tallest goalkeeper for Japan. It's Greenwood. Swerving in toward White. Cleared Minami. Greenwood overtaken. To Kobayashi. And Houghton now. Houghton on the ball now, saying they know the quality that they have. They do feel like they can cause some damage. Today's game is a really clear and obvious proof of that fact. Ball by Mead, brought down top of the 18 and lifted through. Bronze continued for it. White leading the line for England. White's 27th international goal coming against Brazil in Philadelphia, about 1,000 miles to the north. About 1,000 millimeters less mercury in the thermometer up there. 60 degrees is actually pretty pleasant, all things considered, although it was in the 80s not too long ago. What can Asako Takakura find out from this second half? Chance to win here tonight and take the SheBelieves Cup title after losing all 3 games against top 10 teams in the Tournament of Nations. White serving that to nobody in particular. Yokoyama. Three goals in the final stages of the Asian Cup in 2018. Yokoyama is a known commodity, no question. Scored in the final of that tournament and defeated 7-time AFC champion China in the semi, and then dispatched Australia. Yokoyama's goal the difference in the final. And both these teams think they have a fighting chance to win the World Cup. France, Germany, certainly among the favorites. If England was a dark horse a couple years ago, the same can't be said anymore. But Australia is going to draw a lot of eyeballs because of one Sam Kerr. They had a very nice performance at the Tournament of Nations last year in the United States, including a draw against the United States. Yokoyama. First touch led her a bit too far. Bronze. And this ball laid through, and a chance for Japan. Was begging wide by Momiki. The halftime substitute. Narrowly staying onside. It was Bronze who wasn't the nearest defender that appeared to keep her onside. Change coming for England. Bonner comes on. Kira Walsh is done. And you'd have to say it was a good day for Kira Walsh. Holding things down in that defensive midfield role. Certainly looked the part. Mead, touch, but not enough to soften the blow. Get out of play. Samashima will move backwards. She worked in Fukushima during the disaster back in 2011. The nuclear disaster. Sako Takakura is actually from Fukushima herself. The Japanese Football Academy moved there after Takakura had finished her playing career. And the rebirth of that site this year after it had been torn apart to allow for emergency vehicles and people to make way there is a really important moment moving forward. Telford will fall down on this. But Takakura, when she was playing at the very beginning, was riding 30 minutes on her bike to a boys' school to play. And there is something about SheBelieves Cup. It's sort of a full circle moment that the women's game has inspired so much, particularly over these last 30 years. Approaching the edge of the 18-yard box. That's lifted out of play by Miura. Carly Lloyd and the United States have arrived. They can see on the scoreboard that it looks like England will win the trophy. Although one would imagine that is far from the only thing they're playing for at this present moment. Trying to maintain form after a couple of draws to start this tournament. But the way the players have taken to this cause, and there's not a young girl in this stadium tonight who doesn't believe they have a chance to attain a national team career or succeed in whatever it is that they dream to do. And Sako Takakura is just one shining example of that. Anywho, her Japanese players are trailing 3-0 past the hour mark. Kobayashi at the feet of Yokoyama. And an English foul. And Staniforth is down. Had her foot stepped on here. It's Miura. Certainly doesn't feel good, but she'll soldier on. A career player for Birmingham City, 26 years old. I should say Birmingham City, next place. Took her career trying to build into a national team player. She'd been around the block a bit. Nothing there for Japan. And this is struck with some real venom right at Telford. It's Matsubara, who's dropped in to central defense after starting the day as a holding midfielder. That seemed to catch everybody's attention. Samashima, a touch, comes free to Stanway and recovered by Hasegawa. There's Hasegawa. Hasegawa header falls for England. Oh, Risa Matsubara clearly had a corner picked out. Talford came into this tournament with 12 caps, making a simple stop. Matsubara, just 23 years old, was a World Cup winner for the U20s. Chioma Abogugu comes in. Abogugu plying her trade in Orlando. Carney comes out. Tony Duggan has come on. So 2 changes for England as they try and salt away the final 25 minutes. Carney did score in this game, the second goal for the English. Duggan. And now Bonner. Played ahead to White and looked over the wrong shoulder, but recovers now. Abogugu standing down the middle of the field. Duggan. English throw. As Matsubara heeded Duggan's progress. Gets a notable cheer from the fans in attendance. It's about an hour-and-a-half, 2-hour drive to Orlando. Duggan is well known as any player in England. Front page news when she went to Barcelona, Manchester City. Neville in year 2 of his 4-year contract, talking about this as a long-term project, and at the back end of year 1 and this officially the beginning of his 2nd calendar year, you'd have to say that what he's done with England, while far from miraculous, this is a team that went to the semifinal of the World Cup in 2015. Looks like they're playing on another level than they have previous. Greenwood bouncing all the way through and wide the far post. Greenwood very much a set-piece specialist. Missed that by a resounding half a foot. And that was White on the other end. Kept alive, Hasegawa. That'll deflect straight down. Kobayashi trying to turn, stays alive, and slid outside of the right post. Yokoyama, the last touch to it. Yokoyama, that initial slide to keep that moving in the right direction. Hasegawa's first effort, blasting off the back of the defender. Kobayashi, the presence of mind not to try and let that rip too quickly. There was a better option that made herself available in Yokoyama. Kobayashi slides in. Bronze pushing ahead. And now White, who stayed on side. White pushing in. A Bogagu on the opposite end, and the Bogagu heads it over the crossbar. Well, this is exactly what you're looking for between your two forwards. A Bogagu with blazing speed, and that looked right all the way, right until the final header. That certainly would have lit up the crowd a fair amount, given the ovation she got on her way in. The Bogagu, a Stanford graduate. Her grandfather played for Nigeria and for Tottenham. And a turnover, chance now for England. That slid high. That's one White will want back. The defending shape looks more like a 4-2-3-1. Start of the day, this is called a 4-5-1. You could just as easily call it. White spun out. Bogagu hadn't been making a run. And it's brought down by Greenwood into open space. Away from Bronze, who's moved into that holding midfield position again. And so that's going to become one of the most intriguing positional placements for England moving forward. Where do you put one of the best players on the planet? Same could be said for one of their bench players, Rachel Daly. You could play her as a winger, a defender. It gives her a lot of utility moving forward. But where's the best place? Bronze is elite at multiple positions, no question. White coming after this. Japan now 18 minutes away from watching an 8-game unbeaten streak. Snapped brutally by England. Houghton the header. Advantage played in favor of Japan. Sugita. Turn the corner. Still now on the left flank, slipping ahead. Hasegawa will kick England. Hasegawa in there at the end, just 3 years into her international career. Debuted in 2017, and a heavy touch drew her too far forward. There's Hasegawa, describes herself as a big Disney fan. Not sure that she made the trip across the state of Florida to experience the happiest place on earth. Imagine not. Hasegawa, cross field, a Bogagu marking. And Shimizu lost it to a Bogagu. Yokoyama can't get it away from a Bogagu either. There's room here for Duggan. snipped out by Hasegawa. Long step by Williamson. Bogugu. Look at a Bogugu's skill here. Bogugu's got great speed and has scored plenty of goals, make no question. From London. Drafted by Sky Blue in the NWSL in 2015. It is a free kick for England. Houghton making a run forward. Stanway going for goal. That's high and wide. Captain the U17s had 6 goals back in 2016 on the world stage. Stanway grew up a Tony Duggan fan. Small world. As they were just about 3 feet apart a moment ago. Brewing for Duggan. Sugita, Kobayashi, by Momiki. Stands gradually filling for the United States and Brazil, both of whom, with this current scoreline, will be eliminated from winning SheBelieves Cup. But 6-time World Player of the Year, Marta, and the Brazilians will try and get off the schneid in this tournament. Try and take down the top-ranked United States team, who drew both these sides 2 goals apiece. The earlier stops on this East Coast American tour started in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, through Music City, all the way down to the beaches and sunshine of Tampa after a stop in Nashville. Kobayashi returns. Crowd on the edge of their seats. Ball across, headed towards goal, and just wide by Sugita. That ball skipped towards her, and she still was able to aim that towards the far post. Bogugu, the initial slide came up empty, and after the defensive header by Houghton, nearly a really fortunate scenario for Japan. Or by Minami. Hasegawa. Off the head of Hasegawa, but headed right down the middle of the field. The shot is just buried over by Telford. Something that spun up out of absolutely nothing for Japan. And Kobayashi almost had a real moment to remember here. A twirling half volley effort that narrowly misses Houghton and went right up as a rising shot towards Telford, who just taps it over. Could have been Kobayashi's second international goal. I would imagine she wouldn't have done much better than that. Believe it or not, first corner of this match comes 79 minutes in. And a chance now for a Bogagu to show off her speed. A Bogagu continuing on. And centers with nobody, making a run down the middle of the box. It's just a bit too far out in front. Bogagu actually was part of the United States youth national team once upon a time. Gets by Miura. And Ellen White joining into the attack alongside her. Change for Japan. Miyagawa comes in. Another member of that U20 World Cup team, and that's going to be the story as she replaces Shimizu. After that U20 World Cup win, the manager Takakura said that they wish to call up players striving for the best as fast as possible, and this is an interesting moment in the build-up to the World Cup to call up a bunch of players that are new, but Japan just scratching the surface of, again, what they think is a 50-player deep pool. Fran Kirby waits to check in. And Lucy Staniforth will come off. As of now, she's got the game-winning goal that seals SheBelieves Cup for England. Came in the 12th minute of play. Now, the player that leaves under a new rule that was just enacted in these past couple weeks, or rather approved, allows the player to leave over the nearest boundary line when they're subbed off. And in this case, that means Staniforth will have to make the long, arduous trek behind the Japanese goal and into the dugout, which, if she's wearing a GPS tracker, will add to her meters run, but otherwise is a marginal nuisance, even if it does speed up the game a bit. It's Bonner trying to cut this down. Duggan out of the reach of the newly inserted Kirby. It's Duggan. Bonner was the Liverpool captain, went to Manchester City. Kind of a bit of an exodus, Liverpool. The feet of Houghton. Bogagu tugged initially, but now breaks through. Gets underneath White and comes to Duggan. Duggan surrounded. 4 Japanese players swarmed around her. Not only that, they've come away with the ball. That was a promising 4-player attack in transition for England. Well, this is Duggan perhaps trying to do a little too much. 3 players came around. 1 was prepared to block the shot had she taken it. Stanway. That's a lazy pass. It's taken away. And Japan now running the other way. Miyagawa. Omiki. And lifted toward Kobayashi. Samishima. Hasegawa. Yama in the middle. Sugita. High hand from Houghton. Well, there's going to be a card. It's a yellow. First discipline from Christina Uncle today. Gets her hand up. Goes just beneath the jawline. Nothing malicious by that. Hasegawa will walk away. It'll be either Momiki or Yokoyama. Take the set piece. It's Momiki. Right to Yokoyama. Momiki again, now serving. Corner, Japan.
Hey, come on! Switch on! Every one of us two! Hey!
Japan stressing at the outset of this tournament that it was not about results. It was about assessing strength and weakness moving forward. The tail end of the World Cup cycle. Figured out that their very young defense needs experience quickly. They'll have some key players returning to their squad moving forward. And what's a transitional time? Corner, Japan. Falls kindly, Kobayashi deflected away, Telford. And pushed aside as Miura had pursued. Now Bogagu. It's a well-struck ball, finding Bonner. Houghton. Duggan is looking for White, who had looped around her. Field by Miura. Wafted towards Sugita. It's knocked aground by Bronze. Bronze had followed this all the way up, having started it right back and moved to a less familiar number 6 role. It's a little touch to that, trying to deflect it toward Duggan. Bronze, who spoke about the 2015 World Cup, said we didn't have any expectation. The goal now very clear for England to try and keep a clean sheet. Yokoyama heading into that. Bogagu. A lot of traffic here emerging between Telford and this shot from Kobayashi. Telford's had a nice day. Started against Brazil. At the age of 31, what kind of role does she have moving toward the World Cup? Karen Bardsley is clearly the incumbent. That's a poor clearance. Hasegawa. Japan seems intent on finding at least one. Ricochets off of Williamson. This is going to be the 8th straight unbeaten match for England outside their border. 7 wins in that time. And an unreal goal differential of 24-4. They haven't just beaten teams of late, they've dominated them. And today against Japan, they have made the most of an opportunity to win a trophy that's significant in the sense that means that they've conquered a field of 3 of the top 10 teams on the planet. England twice a third-place finisher in this tournament in its inaugural 2 seasons. Finished runners-up to the United States last year. 2-minute stoppage time. The U.S. and Brazil to follow. They will not be competing for a trophy. It's going to be England's. Ball knocked aside by Williamson. There will be no chaotic arithmetic that comes deciding who wins this trophy. That was possible when the day began. Telford looks on the precipice of a shutout. England called this an ideal step in their preparation for the World Cup, and they felt that their game against the United States, in Phil Neville's estimation, was as good an advertisement for women's soccer as he's seen. What he did against Japan will certainly be a fine advertisement on the BBC, just airing the games in England. The U.S. with a win in the late game could finish as high as 2nd. If they draw against Brazil, then Japan will finish 2nd. Brazil with a win could leapfrog the United States. With a game to spare, England taking down Japan. They're going to see each other again in June at the World Cup. Sugita slipping it through. Pogagu in pursuit. Momiki. Christina Uncle checks her watch. Play on in the final attack for Japan. Is there an exclamation point for England? White carrying toward the corner. Displays the ground. Throw Japan. A major milestone for England in pursuit of a World Cup title in the summer. SheBelieves Cup champions for the first time in 2019. 3 first-half goals. Japan never had a chance. And it's 3 players who are either new to the side or hadn't made a big impact on the score sheet in the last couple of years. Staniforth scores first, then Carney. Mead last. Telford comes up with a shutout in her 2nd start of SheBelieves Cup. And for England, it's full steam ahead in their now waning days before the World Cup. For our entire team in Tampa, Florida, Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching. It finishes at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. England 3, Japan 0. England, the 2019 SheBelieves Cup champions.